And he said, I don't understand. How do you get along with these folks? I said, wait a minute, brother. I said, when I see them, I see me. I see me. I see the little boy in South Baltimore sitting in special ed. Folks say you never anything. I see me. When I see them, I see the guy who had no hope, but had a mother who believed in a God who sat high and looked low.
It's 41 past the hour. Joining us from Baltimore, ranking member of the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee, Democratic Congressman Elijah Cummings of Maryland. Very good to have you on the show this morning. Thank you.
It's good to be with you.
First question, do you think the prosecutor did the right thing?
I think the prosecutor did the right thing because I believe in the prosecutor. Let me tell you, 7 o'clock in the morning on Friday, before we even knew she was going to make a decision, I said that Marilyn Mosby, who I voted for and who lives within a few blocks of me, is somebody that I trust, somebody I believe in, somebody who was a daughter of 2 police officers and her grandfather was a police officer, somebody who was an excellent lawyer and an excellent prosecutor and had highest integrity. And this is what I said, Mika. I said, no, I believe that she would take the facts, she would measure them against the law, and she would come to a just decision. And then I said these words: whatever she decides, based upon what I just said, that I would be satisfied. And I didn't even know she was going to make that decision.
We have Wes Moore with us. Wes, I'd like to ask you the same question. Did she do the right thing, in your opinion?
I think she did the right thing because I think one thing we need to know, and I think both as a community and also as a legal structure and a legal system, is I think people need to see the facts laid out. They want to see exactly what evidence people have. They want to see exactly, what are the facts to this case. And, and the interesting thing, and I think people continue to talk about the speed of the prosecution, the speed of the charges. The speed of the charges is one thing. I thought one of the more compelling things was the fact that all 6 were charged. Why that's interesting is this, is that it's not just going after, understanding this case, but it's understanding the culture of what happens. And what I mean by that is this, it's really a way we're going to examine this idea of toleration, where if things happen and you know about it and you do not act on it, are you just as responsible? And so, I think, I, along with a lot of Baltimoreans, and I mean, obviously, Congressman Cummings, I was happy to see the fact that we can now have an open dialogue about what happened that day and about how we move forward on it.
Elijah, is there a culture of abuse among Baltimore's police officers?
I think that clearly there is a culture of excessive force. And part of it, I mean, it dates back many years, Joe. I've seen a young man standing on a corner in my neighborhood, standing on a corner, waiting for the bus with their girlfriend. Maybe they're 17 years old, trying to get to a movie. Police come in, jump out, have them take their pants down in front of the girlfriend, right on the corner, check them, and then they put the pants back up and the police leave. Now, what do you think that does to the guy and the young lady? Both.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so, Mika, of course, we've been talking about all the payoffs, the payouts, over $5 million.
$6 million over the last few years.
$6 million.
So here's what Mike Barnacle writes in the Daily Beast, School of Hard Knocks. When Marilyn Mosby, state's attorney for Baltimore City, stood before the cameras that introduced her to the world on Friday as she declared that 6 Baltimore cops would face felony charges in the death of Freddie Gray, she arrived with personal knowledge of how the streets can swallow young black lives. When she was 14 years old in the summer of '94, her closest friend, a 17-year-old cousin, Tyrone Spence, was shot to death by 18-year-old Kevin Dennis. Mosby will go to court seeking justice in the case of Freddie Gray. Meanwhile, the case of what occurs every day in the lives of so many poor people in the United States of America and why solutions seem so difficult to achieve or even address is barely on the docket.
Congressman, it's Willie Geist. You touched on this in your pretty moving speech over the weekend where you said a movement was started because of what happened to Freddie Gray that will change schools, will change the lives of children. Those were your words. How does it change? What happens tomorrow? What happens next week and next month to change the lives of those kids so it doesn't happen again? again?
Great question. I've said it. I added this. Out of this moment must come a movement.
Yeah.
And that movement is already beginning. I can tell you, I've gotten so many calls from foundations, from private corporations, from all over the country. 81 members of the Congress have called me, people wanting to be of help and change this culture and turn things around. And a lot of the things we're going to have to do are policy things, but other things we're going to have to do is make sure that the resources come to these communities that will help the Freddie Grays of the world. Keep in mind, the Freddie Gray's family had to deal with serious lead poisoning. We just cut the lead poisoning money in the budget by a third. And then there was a promised neighborhoods money that would help improve these neighborhoods. That was cut by 77%. I mean, you can't, let me tell you something, we cannot cut off these young people's futures. And when I talk to young people, what I hear from them is that we really simply want to have a chance. And a young man told me the other day, he said, Mr. Cummings, he said, I feel like I'm in my coffin trying to claw my way out.
Well, you can't get a chance if there isn't justice also. And what we have to find out is what happened in this case. And it has to, I think what the state's attorney has done was brave and bold. And I watched her speaking and I was thinking, gosh, it seems political. Maybe she's, I'm not sure I care. I'm really glad her voice is at the table. I'm really glad that she's there. Congressman Elijah Cummings, thank you very much.